Don't mind me. I'm just hugging a tree. And yeah, it turns out those hippies were onto something, right? And I wanted to talk about it today. It's Your Mindset Matters episode, I think number 7. And I've been hearing this term forest bathing a lot lately. And so I was intrigued. And what I found out was that essentially, as children, we called it playing in the woods. And it's really about spending time in nature. And there's a reason, scientifically, backed up by research, why being in nature feels so darn good. And it turns out that forest bathing, the term forest bathing, comes from, is a Japanese translation for a researcher that wanted to find out why during the 80s, 90s, when Japanese culture had a very high rate of stress and burnout and a whole bunch of other challenges health-wise, there was a group that was doing okay, and that group, as it turns out, would get into nature, go to the forest at least once on the weekend and spend 2 hours just hanging out with the trees. And so what the researcher found out was that spending time in nature with these big trees, or any kind of trees, but the evergreens are the best apparently for producing what it is they produce. And what they produce is a compound that when we are in the forest and breathing in that compound, it not only brings our levels of cortisol down, which is the stress hormone, and allows us to feel more relaxed, but it also supports our immune system. It supports our killer cells, which are responsible for killing all the nasties that float around our system. And so it was quite a discovery that part of health and well-being, part of self-care, was backed up by scientific research that spending time in nature, isn't some woo-woo kind of flaky thing. It's actually something. It's actually a strategy for taking care of yourself and being able to sustain your ability to work for longer periods. And it just feels darn good, and it's beautiful, right? The whole point is to get into nature and allow as many of your senses to be turned on. So, scent, right? It just smells. It's too bad I can't obviously transfer that, but it just smells beautiful in this forest. And the site, obviously, all the moss, the size of these evergreens and the coniferous that are growing in between, they're beautiful, right? And when you really turn that on and you start to appreciate all of the senses, the sound, aside from Oakley's panting, it's dead quiet. And he just stopped. Thanks, Oakley. Yeah, I mean, God, there's so much noise in our world, right? And so to get in here and just experience this peace and quiet, and then taste. And, I'm not suggesting you eat dirt or anything, but you can quite literally taste the aromas that change as you go through, as you move from different sections of the forest. And then, of course, the last scent is, and this one gets a little woo-woo for some of you perhaps, but the notion of energy, right? There is a different energy in this forest. And we tend to produce a lot of positive ions by living in cities and being in towers and in front of electrical devices and all that sort of stuff. And so here comes another runner, being in the forest. How's it going?
Pardon me?
How are you doing?
Oh, not too bad.
Good, thanks. And so being in the forest allows those positive ions to be replaced with negative ions. It's called grounding. And it's actually better if we're barefoot in here. I'm not prepared to run barefoot on these trails because, I want to have feet at the end of this run. But stopping on hikes and taking your shoes off and really allowing your feet to be on the ground is, according to research, a wonderful way to recharge the body with the ions that support our health. And it just feels good as well. There's nothing like standing in this moss that's on the ground. It just feels so wonderful. So, yeah, a little bit of health and wellness on a Wednesday afternoon run. So get yourself out into Mother Nature, right? It's not just about, it's not just about the hikes and all that sort of stuff. You're doing two things at once. You are enjoying your time on your own or with your family and friends, and you are supporting your immune system and your health. So good on you. Okay, we'll see you in a week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.